Good evening, folks. And tonight is going to be a question regarding if Iowa actually has it. I mean, Iowa's a good team, by all means. And Oregon also has it, but the question is, does Michigan have what it takes to win at Washington? 34-13 last year's national championship win. I get it. Now, Ohio State, after last year's stomping of, actually not last year, I think it was the year before that. I can't remember what year they played Iowa. It was 54-10. They stomped Iowa. I mean, it was a stomping of Iowa. Now, don't get me wrong. I think Iowa's a completely different team. They're a remodeled team. They're a reformed team, I think. Now, despite their one loss to Iowa State, could have easily been one. Now, don't get me wrong. I seriously think Iowa State is really not, I can't say they're weak, but I think that there's some things that need to be reevaluated about Iowa State. I think there's things about Iowa State that I think Iowa State is a little overrated in my personal opinion because they lucked out with that game. 20-19. They scored one touchdown. Iowa did. They still need to find that offensive rhythm if they want to beat Ohio State, honestly. If they can find that offensive rhythm under Cade McNamara, who was at Michigan at the time, I call him the man, the myth, the legend when he was at Michigan, because he's the only quarterback in over 20 years, well, not necessarily 20 years, to break the losing streak against Ohio State, against Michigan and Ohio State, to finally break Michigan's losing streak. He broke their losing streak. And then when he finally lost the starting job to J.J. McCarthy, then he jumped on the transfer portal and went to Iowa. He hit the portal and went to Iowa. He was sitting behind another quarterback, and now that quarterback has since graduated. Now he's the starting quarterback. So he's got some work ahead of him. We got Penn State ahead of us, and you got plenty of other teams to play. And I'm sure Iowa can easily. I don't know if Iowa can beat Penn State, but I'm sure they'll have a good defense because, personally, Penn State does look good. They're just about like an Iowa team, but Iowa I still think is pretty good. The only thing that cost Iowa, they scored one touchdown. The rest were all field goals. The thing about Iowa was you get 10, then you get a touchdown would make 7, then 10, 13, 16, then 19, and 5 field goals. One touchdown and 5 field goals. He went to kick the final in the very last second. He went to kick a field goal and missed. No good. 20-19. Now, Iowa State on the other hand, 2 touchdowns, 14, and 2 field goals, 17 and 20. Now, this is very similar to that, unfortunately. Now, unfortunately, I don't know if Iowa still has a fully reformed yet, but I think they might be able to get maybe 3 touchdowns on the board, maybe. It'll be like maybe 45-21 Ohio State over Iowa, maybe. I'm not really sure. But I think Iowa might get a touchdown on the board. Now, unless Ohio State's defense really plays strong, which I think it will, it might be a 45-7, but I don't know if it'll be a 45-7. I'm going to predict a 45-21 because I think Cade McNamara might have a few secret weapons that he's got up in his sleeve unless Ohio State just wants to actually let it all out of frustration, considering he once wore maize and blue and they would come after him. They're going to show a lot of anger out of the last time they played him, even though he's not wearing the same colors he was before. Now you got to look at the other guy. Ohio State, the Scarlet and Gray. Is Will Howard overrated? Considering he's putting up these 200 some odd plus numbers. If he continues this path, He'll pass another player that wore number 18. Back in the you gotta go back to the 70s. He'll be right behind Greg Hare. He wore number 18 back in the good old days. And Greg Hare also won. He also beat Michigan. I mean, Greg Hare was a passer and a half that nobody could ever doubt. That guy could pass. Now, he hasn't quite gotten up there yet, but if he passes like he continues, those numbers, we'll talk more about that tonight. Now, Oregon, they played tonight with Michigan State after Ohio State's 38-7 thumping of Michigan State. I'm looking forward to this being a very physical game, considering Michigan State kind of stayed with Ohio State there in the first half. It was 10-7 for a long time, and then Ohio State finally opened up to take a 24-7. That is after turnovers. If Michigan State can limit their turnovers, they have a chance to beat Oregon. Or all we're going to have to do is take care of the ball. And same with Michigan State. Whoever makes the least amount of turnovers in this game tonight will be the winner. Now, as of Michigan State, when it comes to Washington and Michigan, Alex Orji. Everyone says replace Alex Orji with Jack Tuttle. Jack Tuttle, a transfer out of Indiana, who saw some time there. They say he's a heck of a passer. Yeah, okay. He got up to 86 yards this time, but the running game is about the only thing they got. But with Warren Davis, his injury, Warren Davis, they're saying let's just stick with Warren Davis, but that backfired big time. But Warren Davis is just a good pass. It's not really much of a pass. Is a passer, but not much of a runner. While Alex Orji is a runner. Now, and not much of a passer. Now, the time I saw Jack Tuttle at Indiana, he was pretty much like Davis Warren. He's more of a passer, not much of a runner. He can pass, but he can't really run. He's not really versatile either. At least when he was at Indiana. I don't know how much he's developed at Michigan or how well or what he has done at Michigan, but he wasn't much of anything when he was at Indiana. He couldn't really run much. I don't know. I never really saw him when he was in that second string. I never really saw him pass much when he was a second stringer at Michigan. I never got to see him much. But I thought he wasn't really that swell at Indiana. I thought he was more of a subpar kind of quarterback. But overall, now as of Washington, considering Washington's like a 2.5 favorite at home, this game is going to be tough. I feel that if Washington's defense steps up, unlike how they got embarrassed at Rutgers 21-18, if they play better defense at home and actually come out with a chip on their shoulder, looking at how they played against Michigan the last time, Michigan doesn't have the same players like they did the last time. So that's one thing that's not going towards Michigan's favor, and that's also going towards Washington's favor. Considering it's also at home, that's another thing going towards their favor. It's at home. So if they can actually step up to the plate and actually play like they really want to win this more than what Michigan wants it, then Washington might actually win. But you have to show them you mean business if you want to prove it. That's literally what this comes down to. You got to show them you mean business if you really want to win the game. That's literally what it comes down to every game. You got to be the one to prove you want to be there, not the other way around. Well, with that being said, hit the like button, hit the bell for notifications. That being said, I'm out of here. Peace.